been independently discovered 4 other times. He said it has been suppressed every single fucking time. And he said, I don't think they're going to suppress it this time. He said, I think you're in the clear. He said, they obviously know about you because I've had multiple, both protective and threatening interactions with various agency affiliations, whatever. He was like, if you haven't had a U.S. government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the fuck up, stop, shut the fuck up. If that hasn't happened, they're going to let you do it. They're going to let you do it this time. He said it's been suppressed every other time. This time, they're waiting for someone to publish. They're ready. They're waiting. There are SSP motherfuckers that are fucking twiddling their thumbs. Like, is Amy not going to publish soon? Gah, we've been influencing this bitch forever. Doesn't she know we want her to publish? Jesus. Like, there's multiple people doing that right now. And on the other side of the fence, there's multiple parties looking at each other like, didn't we tell this bitch 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago. So I have these two different scenarios floating constantly in my life where I have people being like, do it, do it, do it. You're the one, do it. And then I have multiple people being like, they're going to kill you. Don't do it. They're going to kill you. I have like multiple of these whispers in my ears. I can't even describe it. It's crazy.
I think it's time that we revisit a couple episodes that I did in the past. And the reason why is there's renewed attention to something that I was looking into over a year ago, and it's the story of Dr. Amy Eskridge. And for those of you that don't know, she was a scientist who reportedly died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in 2022. And it's receiving renewed attention amid reports on a series of deaths and disappearances involving U.S. experts. And really what kicked it off was the disappearance of Major General William Neal McCasland, who was involved with Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy. And he was known as a few different monikers, the Ghost General, the UFO General, because he worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and oversaw the Air Force Research Laboratory. And when he disappeared, it kind of drew attention to the rest of these scientists who were involved with nuclear power, fusion, plasma research. Amy Eskridge was actually, she had made the claim that she was going to release some groundbreaking technology having to do with anti-gravity. And she wasn't the first. Before her was Dr. Ning Li. And Dr. Ning Li, she was basically researching anti-gravity and had found that spinning superconductors at various temperatures produced anti-gravitic properties. So she ended up disappearing, and then when she came back on the scene, she was promptly hit by a vehicle and basically suffered like a Alzheimer's type of dementia before she ended up passing away. And then so there's a pattern here, right? And I reported on Amy Eskridge's story because I came across, she was basically on a Zoom chat. It was you could call it a podcast, but they were basically just kind of having a good time talking. She was talking about publishing her findings. And on June 11th, 2022, she reportedly died of this self-inflicted gunshot wound on her front porch, which is just crazy because Carl Grillmar, he was shot on his front porch. There seems to be a theme with getting shot on your front porch, or just vanishing, disappearing, or getting hit by a car. There's been other whistleblowers who died similarly. One was Carl Wolf, who was a part of Stephen Greer's 2001 press club event, and he was the I believe it was like a photo engineer for NASA, and he stated that he saw photos of bases on the backside of the moon. Now, this was back when the Apollo missions were going on and stuff, but he came out and spoke about it, and then he was hit by a car. But and then you look like John E. Mack, who was a Harvard psychiatrist who was researching abduction experiences, and he was a skeptic, and he ended up becoming a believer. And I believe in 2014 he was hit by a car. And so, you know, this is a recurring theme that we keep seeing. Now President Trump is actually making comments. I'm going to show you this clip. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you these series of clips just to show you how much attention these cases are getting right now.
Has died or gone missing within the last 4 years under mysterious conditions. And conspiracy theories are ballooning online. President Trump even addressing the ongoing mystery yesterday, confirming the U.S. government is looking into it.
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be now. Hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next.
National correspondent Nancy Liu is live in Los Angeles. So, Nancy, what do we know about this possible 11th case?
Well, Nicole, just before her death in 2022, Amy Eskridge had announced plans to present her groundbreaking work with anti-gravity technology. The 34-year-old had been openly experimenting in the field and founded a research company called the Institute for Exotic Science to establish a more public space for developments in anti-gravity work. Her death from a supposed self-inflicted gunshot wound has long been questioned since she had expressed that her life was in danger at the time. Eskridge worked closely with her father. And according to NASA, Richard Eskridge is a retired engineer whose many projects included novel work on a system to propel a spacecraft with high-speed plasmoids.
Research have died or gone missing in recent years. Amy Eskridge, a 34-year-old researcher based in Huntsville, Alabama, who died back in June of 2022 from what was ruled then as a self-inflicted gunshot wound. At the time, her death didn't draw widespread national attention, but now it's being re-examined in a very different light. It's being counted as the 11th case in a growing string of scientists who have either died or disappeared, many working in areas tied to U.S. military or nuclear programs or connected to UFO-related studies. Eskridge said in a 2020 interview, quote, "We discovered anti-gravity and people started sabotaging us. It's harassment, threats, it's awful. If you stick your neck out, they will bury you," end quote. But exactly who they is remains unclear. President Trump called the situation, quote, "pretty serious," adding, "I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half." Are these unrelated tragedies that just happen to look connected, or is there something more sinister, actually connected here, that hasn't fully come into focus yet?
Truth 33, I'm John. And on Thursday, the Daily Mail reported that Amy Eskridge, 34, died in Huntsville, Alabama on June 11, 2022. The outlet reported the death as a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, but said neither the police nor medical examiners have released a public investigative report. And I just want to put a little note in here that, you know, a lot of this got swept under the rug, and Franc Milburn, who was Amy's good friend and also ex-British intelligence officer, came out later on. I'm going to show you a clip. Just listen to what he said.
Do you really want me to answer that? She was murdered for her work on free energy. She was a brilliant mind. She was an expert on free energy, the extraction from the ether of basically free energy, but also massively aware. Can everybody hear me okay?
You sound good, Frank.
Yeah, she was murdered. For the 5 weeks leading up to her death, she said to me, "I'm being harassed, I'm being this and that," and she had been for a year. And I'd logged all those events, and I logged 4 other scientists that she was involved with, and they'd all been harassed as well and subject to directed energy weapon attacks. And in the 5 weeks leading up to her death, she was like, "Well, if you hear that I've committed suicide, it wasn't a suicide." And then when I was called by my mate in the CIA, who was the first person who called me, I spoke to her on the Friday night, late Friday night, Saturday morning, early, because I let my cats out really early. I woke up at like 0500, 05600 or 0600. I turned on my phone, and my first message was from a CIA buddy, and he said, it looks like they're saying Amy has committed suicide. He goes, but we, as in we in the agency, were treating it as a homicide.
Dude, that's dark. I apologize. Sorry for your loss. That's incredible.
Well, I'm sorry for her family's loss.
Researching real quick, Frank, if you don't mind. Well, was it just?
She was researching free energy. I know she'd been in touch with the Trump White House about UAP. Obviously, she didn't tell me anything, sensitive, and I didn't ask her because that's not my position to ask her. But it was obvious to me that she was working on something very, very important. And the level of harassment that she and her, scientific collaborators faced. I'll just say this, look, I could have said, oh, this is all bullshit. And then the same CIA contact who called me to tell me that she was dead several months before, I was on a Zoom meeting with him and other people from the agency and high-ranking members of Homeland Security, and Amy was there. So I knew that it wasn't bullshit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it sounds legit to me, man. That's awful. That's awful.
Yeah, absolutely awful. I mean, it devastated me. But it took me back to, Forrestal, McDonald, other people who've been murdered because they were too heavily invested in the UAP topic.
So you think it was more UAP related versus energy based?
No, it was free energy UAP related for sure. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man, that it just seems like a very dangerous thing to be looking into. Almost everyone who's came out and talked about having a engine that could, or a car that could run on water, they go missing or they die.
The saddest thing, mate, was like I said to her, because her family's got an armory like where they live, and I said, look, just pay my airfare. I said, I'll come over and I'll look after you for 6 weeks, and I'll make sure I'll beef up your security because I am a security professional, and I won't charge you anything. And she's like, no, I'll be okay. And then she's murdered.
But the fact that Amy had been investigating and attempting to develop anti-gravity technology, which is a method of manipulating or offsetting the effects of gravity. And if true, if she had made this breakthrough, and she claimed that she did, and she claimed that she was sabotaged, suffered intense harassment, was basically a victim of microwave weapons to the point where her spine, it damaged her spine. The fluid in her spine expanded. She said she felt a pop in the back of her throat. Fluid went down her esophagus and it burned it. And at the time that this happened, a lot of people thought that she was, attention seeking or making things up, because skeptics are like that. But then it came out later. There was a 60 Minutes episode, and they were talking about Havana syndrome, and it was basically describing the same things that Amy had went through. Yeah. And it's sad, man. Like I did those episodes and it really affected me. You know what I mean? Trump says they're going to get to the bottom of this. Look, I highly doubt it. I hope they do. It's sad, man. Officials have not confirmed any link among recent cases cited by online commentators and reports, but the White House signaled this week that it would seek updates from relevant agencies after a reporter queried whether anyone was investigating a possible connection between these scientists and officials who had died or gone missing since, 2022 now. And it's been going on a lot longer than that. And it's just like, when are they actually gonna pay attention to the things that are going on? you know, and you always have these same personalities who just kind of toe the line, whatever Arrow or Pentagon officials say, they just kind of parrot, you know, oh, this is just a coincidence. But I'm going to show you, listen to what Nancy Grace said about this case. I'll be right back.
It is either the oddest coincidence or something's really going on.
I can't believe I heard Sean Hannity say coincidence. One murder or missing person is an isolated incident. Two, a coincidence. Three is a pattern. A pattern. Three is a pattern. That's my rule of thumb. And Sean, I can't count, literally cannot count the number of felonies, multiple offenses I have tried, be it one, isolated, two, coincidence, three, it's a pattern. And I'll tell you what kicked it off. It was the disappearance of retired Air Force Major General McCasland. Now, McCasland had access to the most highly sensitive classified materials in the country. He disappears. His wife's gone 1 hour, Sean, 1 hour. She comes back. He's gone. Interesting. His hiking boots, his wallet, and his 38 are missing. But guess what's left behind, Sean? All wearable devices that could track him, his phone, and his prescription glasses. They're all left behind. Interesting. Why would he leave like that? Now, again, isolated incident. But here's the nexus to Monica Jacinto Reza. He oversaw her funding, and that was from the AFRL, the Air Force Research Lab. She goes missing too. They are 2 of 11. Those are the most recent ones. Again, this is not a coincidence.
So you see Nancy Grace, she clearly thinks this is a pattern. And I agree. And I really don't care for Nancy Grace, but in on this subject, we can agree. And according to her social media, Eskridge's work spanned leadership and technical roles, including serving as a CEO, chief technology officer, and co-founder of the Institute of Exotic Sciences, and other research organizations. Her dad was, really big down there in Huntsville, and she claimed that he had cracked anti-gravity also. But her plan was to release all of this. She even had plans to send her findings to a bunch of public libraries all at once. She wanted to get with Tucker Carlson to get this released. So she was definitely a threat to the status quo, and let's not get it twisted. Our dollar's a petrodollar, right? So any kind of technology breakthroughs that threaten the petrodollar, those people need to watch it, and I think Stephen Greer, he's another one that I don't always agree with, but in on this, I do agree. He says, look, don't try to get rich off of this knowledge. There's ways to get it out. But a lot of people, they see dollar signs and they try to capitalize off it. And a lot of times they end up being unalived, which is sad. Eskridge graduated from the University of Alabama in Huntsville with a double major in chemistry, biology, and she became an interdisciplinarian. She was like a genius, man. She had a master's in electrical engineering, chemistry, physics, genetic engineering. She was even, highly capable in nanotechnology, which I don't even know what that exactly entails besides things that are very, very small. She was also the chair and president of the Institute for Exotic Science in Huntsville, and she co-founded that company, according to the obituaries posted online. And the Daily Mail report said that after Eskridge's death, the Institute for Exotic Sciences website was no longer accessible, and that she had previously collaborated with her father. And he was a retired NASA engineer. His name is Richard Eskridge. And she had done presentations about gravity modification experiments and claims through their company Holocron Engineering. And in 2020, Eskridge said she intended to present new foundational research on anti-gravity, but required authorization from NASA before doing so. So she said that, look, she cracked it. It was a breakthrough, but she needed permission from NASA. And it's just wild that, this, that these things are happening, right? But during a 2020 interview, she had said she co-founded the Institute for Exotic Science as a public-facing persona to disclose anti-gravity technology, unquote. Adding, this is another quote, right? If you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off, is what she said. So basically, she was trying to shout from the rooftops, look, I know I have we made the breakthrough. I want to release. And she thought that would keep her safe. The fact that she was going on these, shows and interviews, she thought that maybe that would protect her. But during the same interview, she alleged that threats against her had been escalating, saying, I need to disclose soon, man. I'm going to show you a clip from that interview. And she added, I have to publish because it's only going to get worse until I publish. So the harassment was escalating. These people were really going after her hard. And she felt a lot of heat. She knew, they were breaking into her house. They were rifling through her underwear drawer. At one point, they had cut the wires of a charger, a USB charger that was plugged into the wall. There was other evidence of people at her house, windows being open. At one point, she said that the neighbor across the street was watching her, and she said to her boyfriend, hey, we should go take a picture of that guy's license plate. And then just right after she said that, a man came out of the house with a license plate in his hand. He walked to his car, changed the license plate right in front of him, took the other license plate back and threw it on the porch. And that disturbed her, and I could see why. There was other times she said she was at a local bar because she did a lot of her best research when she was at the bar, just with her laptop. And she said that she felt like she had been roofied. Some man came up to her and was asking her strange questions. And there was also a lot of talk that, she felt like boyfriends were put into her life and that they were like intelligence operatives, and that they were only there to pump her for information or try to dissuade her from the research that she was doing. It's just a sad case. The renewed attention on Eskridge's death comes after online sleuths and reports have highlighted a cluster of disappearances or deaths in recent years of individuals with ties to advanced research. And yes, I'm one of those internet sleuths, I guess. Among the missing is retired Air Force Major General William McCasland, last seen in February 27th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then there was aerospace engineer Monica Reza, who disappeared June of, I believe, 2025 while hiking in California. And both have been cited by online sleuths. Here we go, right? And I'm going to show you this one news clip and watch how these news anchors are like laughing. There's a smirk on her face. Even Caroline Leavitt, Trump's, public relations chick or whatever. I don't even know what you call her. She even had a smirk on her face. And I just find it just kind of pissed me off that these people are just laughing this shit off. People are dying, people are disappearing, and you're just making light of this situation and speaking about conspiracy theories. And it just shows you that Operation Mockingbird, which was the CIA's, and you can look this stuff up. CIA infiltrated the media decades and decades and decades ago, man. So the media has been compromised, all the mainstream, it's legit fake news, man. And, the smiles, the smirks, this is what they do, especially when it comes to the UFO topic. There's been a campaign for over 80 years of ridicule and, just discrediting anything surrounding this subject. And I think we need to just really stay on topic, stay focused, stick with the program, and hopefully this stuff gets out. And luckily we have some people in Congress who are, I feel, are with us and are backing us a little bit, and are trying to get to the truth. At least it appears that way. And I hope that's the case. I hope that it's not just, some type of psyop against us.
Has it. Ken Wheeler has it. I'm sorry, he does. Dan Cooper, who's the source of this info, says he also has it, independently discovered. Dan Cooper. And the fifth one supposedly is my dad, to independently discover anti-gravity. And this dude, this katana wielding dude, made a really big deal about, he was like, okay, listen to me. It's been independently discovered 4 other times. He said it has been suppressed every single fucking time. And he said, I don't think they're going to suppress it this time. He said, I think you're in the clear. He said, they obviously know about you because I've had multiple, both protective and threatening interactions with various agency affiliations, whatever. He was like, if you haven't had a US government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the fuck up, stop, shut the fuck up. If that hasn't happened, they're going to let you do it. They're going to let you do it this time. He said it's been suppressed every other time. This time, they're waiting for someone to publish. They're ready. They're waiting. There are SSP motherfuckers that are fucking twiddling their thumbs. Like, is Amy not going to publish soon? Gah, we've been influencing this bitch forever. Doesn't she know we want her to publish? Jesus. Like, there's multiple people doing that right now. And on the other side of the fence, there's multiple parties looking at each other like, didn't we tell this bitch 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago. So I have these two different scenarios floating constantly in my life where I have people being like, do it, do it, do it. You're the one, do it. And then I have multiple people being like, they're going to kill you. Don't do it. They're going to kill you. I have like multiple of these whispers in my ears. I can't even describe it. It's crazy. And then I even have the people that are like, this happens too. They're like, they kill people for this, right? And then they're like, I have people digging through my panty drawer, breaking into my apartment, digging through my panty drawer so that I notice. Like, I have crazy fucking threats going on right now. And it's stressing me out. It's stressing me out, dude. I'm stressed. In the same vehicle. And then we would come back together. The first time we noticed the break-in, we came home and there was a micro USB charger plugged into the wall, left there, cut in half with a knife, with the wire exposed on, and like both halves, like half of it is plugged into the wall and half of it is just sitting on the counter, and it's cut in half with a knife. What the fuck? What the fuck? The second time we noticed someone had been in the apartment is really fucking weird, because the night previous, it was like in the summer, and he had opened the bedroom window, the master bedroom window, to let the breeze in because he was hot. And I said, you know what? I'm really cold. Can you please, we were going to bed. I was like, I'm really cold. Can you please close the window? Because I feel the breeze. It's making me cold. And he said, yeah, I'll close it. And he pretended to close it, but he didn't. And the next morning I noticed the window's still open. Motherfucker lied to me. He said that he closed the window, but he didn't. But at that point it was hot, so I left it open and I left. He was gone to work. I noticed the window was still open. I go to work, I leave it open. I come back like an hour later and the window is closed. Like, somebody witnessed that interaction, that I asked him to close the window and he didn't. He lied to me. He said he closed it. He didn't. I noticed it was open the next morning. I left without closing it. I came back before he came back. The window is closed. Because somebody was like, I'm going to close this window for this girl. She asked him to close it. He lied. He didn't. I'm going to go close it right now. It wasn't him. He was at work. The third time we noticed someone had broken in, he plugged in a pair of Bluetooth headphones to charge into a micro USB right as we left. We go to the bar. It's like a Sunday afternoon. We go to the bar and we work for a while together in one car. We come back. The headphones are unplugged. They're exactly where we left them. He plugged them in at 36% battery. We left. We come back. They're unplugged. They're at 36% battery, which means someone unplugged them almost immediately after we left. And so I'm like, that's weird. What are they dicking with the headphones for? I walk into our bedroom and my panty drawer has been dug through and there are pairs thrown on the floor so that I will notice that my panty drawer has been dug through. And I'm like, I'm pissed now.
We like to believe in the random. We tell ourselves that Amy's despair, Ning Lee's disappearance, and the wave of missing experts in 2026 are just the jagged edges of a chaotic world. It's a comforting thought, because the alternative is a prison with no bars. But the synchronicities are piling up again. They aren't just coincidences, they are echoes. When the brightest minds among us touch the third rail, when they begin to decipher the source code of reality, the universe seems to reach back, or perhaps something in the universe reaches down. Is this a human conspiracy to guard a secret, or are we watching a non-human intelligence manage its livestock? If you were an apex predator watching a primitive species finally discover the fire that could burn down your house, would you let them keep it? We aren't being led to the truth. We are being steered away from it. Every time a door opens, a life is extinguished. Every time a scientist speaks, the silence grows louder. They say the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Maybe the greatest trick they ever pulled was convincing us that we were the ones in control. The clustering you're noticing is what researchers often call the trickster element. It suggests a feedback loop. In the UAP lore, as human technical capability approaches a threshold, like Amy's work on superconductors or Ning Lee's gravity AC, the incidents increase. It feels less like a government cover-up and more like an immune system type of response from reality itself. So the historical record shows that on the morning of September 11, 2001, NORAD was conducting a major pre-planned military exercise. The primary exercise taking place was called Vigilant Guardian, the semi-annual command post exercise. And the scenario, it was designed to simulate a Cold War-style air attack by a foreign power, specifically Russian, coming over the North Pole. The confusion was when the first reports of real-world hijacking came in at approximately 8:38 a.m., personnel at NORAD's Northeast Air Defense Sector initially questioned if it was part of the drill. A famous audio recording captures a technician saying, "Is this real world or exercise?" While the initial seconds involved clarification, the 9/11 Commission report concluded that the exercise actually helped the response in some ways because senior officers were already at their stations and additional communication lines were open. And there's often confusion between Vigilant Guardian and other separate drills. Vigilant Warrior, a simultaneous live fly exercise that was also occurring, which added more simulated blips on radar screens, briefly complicated the task of identifying the 4 hijacked aircraft. And the NRO was doing a drill at the same time. A separate small-scale exercise was scheduled for that morning by the National Reconnaissance Office in Virginia. Their simulation involved a small corporate jet crashing into one of their own buildings due to a mechanical failure. This drill was canceled immediately after the first plane hit the North Tower. And while NORAD had previously brainstormed scenarios involving hijacked planes being used as weapons, including one idea of a plane hitting the Pentagon, there was no live exercise on the morning of 9/11 specifically simulating multiple commercial airlines being flown into skyscrapers. But you look at that synchronicity with 9/11, and just the strange that there was added blips on the radar and that the NRO was involved kind of makes me wonder if was there non-human intelligence involvement with that whole situation. I'm just asking. I just feel like, the things that Lou Elizondo has said, the things that David Grush has said, and other people, that if we knew the actual reality of the situation with UAPs and non-human intelligence, that we would be somber, that we would lose sleep, that we would realize that the history that we've been taught isn't what we thought it was. And these are things that they've said. Now, I think it's because the reality is so earth-shattering. And I think that's what it is, that these intelligences have the ability to manipulate our reality, our consciousness, and that they do it on a regular basis. And that they're either guiding humanity or controlling, enslaving humanity. Because the idea that these synchronistic clusters are an immune response from reality or deliberate steering by non-human intelligence, it shifts the narrative from a human conspiracy to something far more unsettling: the management of a species. I'm going to ask you guys, do your own research. Look into these events in the past of history. And look into the synchronicities and the weird, strange coincidences and events that surround September 11th, that surround JFK and Lincoln's assassinations, that surround huge altering events. And then look at this cluster of scientists and these whistleblowers like Carl Wolf and others. And tell me if it doesn't appear like there's a force that we just don't really understand, that we haven't grasped. I don't know. This is UAP Truth 33. I'm John. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like, subscribe, share it to a friend, share it to 2 friends. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.